story opens with two men engaged in a peculiar conversation about romantic technique. One man is teaching the other about timing and the wolf brain, insisting this approach is scientifically proven and prehistoric stuff. They are at a bar that's closing early, complaining that this town sucks, and decide to find an after-hours place off Chermak. Before leaving, one man introduces himself as Saul with the catchphrase, "S all good, man." As they depart, they stumble upon an unconscious man lying on the ground. They discover his wallet contains at least $1,000 in cash and a Rolex watch. Initially considering whether to help him, they check for ID and try to wake him. When the man regains consciousness, he's immediately hostile, repeatedly calling them buttholes and threatening to roundhouse kick them in the head. He boasts that he could buy the McDonald's where they work and fire them before going Jean-Claude Van Damme on them. Offended by his attitude, Saul and his companion abandon any pretense of helping and instead take his money. They argue over how to split the spoils, with Saul's companion claiming the Rolex is worth $3,000. Saul offers him $580 plus the original $1,000 in exchange for keeping the watch. After seemingly agreeing, Saul's companion suddenly runs off with the watch yelling, "Later." Saul appears more amused than angry, impressed by his partner's deceptive skills, suggesting this isn't their first con together. Scene shifts to a family in crisis, the Kettlemans. They've apparently fled their home, leading to a police investigation that mistakenly identified someone as their kidnapper. When confronted about their disappearance, Craig and Betsy Kettleman explain they received a threatening phone call from someone disguising their voice, warning that someone was coming for them, and they noticed a suspicious van watching their house. The Kettlemans are discovered camping in the mountains, 5 miles above their own backyard. They are desperately concerned about their legal case, worried that Craig will be crucified if they appear to have run away. They beg the man who found them, presumably Saul, now revealed to be a lawyer named Jimmy McGill, to pretend he never saw them. When Jimmy refuses to lie, the desperate couple tries to bribe him. Jimmy rejects the bribe but offers to become their lawyer instead. It's revealed the Kettlemans possess a large sum of money, which they claim Craig earned legitimately through unpaid overtime at his job. They rationalize keeping the money as a matter of fairness, even comparing legal technicalities to historical injustices like slavery. Though initially reluctant, Jimmy eventually accepts their payment as a retainer for his legal services, positioning himself as singularly devoted to their case, unlike the slick lawyers at HHM, Hamlin McGill. Despite Jimmy's pitch, Betsy Kettleman dismisses him as the kind of lawyer guilty people hire. Jimmy meets with a threatening man who was initially suspected of kidnapping the Kettleman family. This man has just been released from police custody and is clearly angry with Jimmy. It's revealed that Jimmy had warned the Kettlemans to flee, effectively sabotaging whatever plan this man had for them. During their tense confrontation, Jimmy defends his actions, pointing out that the man was sloppy enough to get caught anyway. A neighbor had identified him, and there was blood found in his van. Jimmy suggests the man should be grateful for his interference, as it prevented him from doing anything even more stupid that would have gotten him into deeper trouble. Jimmy offers unsolicited advice about cleaning methods, Ajax, Formula 409, to remove evidence, and portrays himself as having performed a tap dance for the police to secure the man's release. Despite the man's threats of consequences, Jimmy maintains his composure, insisting that whoever warned the Kettlemans did you a favor. After this confrontation, Jimmy counts his newfound wealth from the Kettlemans' retainer. He carefully categorizes the money for different fictional expenses, hourly fees at elite tier pricing of $950 an hour for 20 hours, $19,000, travel expenses, $1,000, consulting fees, $1,500, research, filing fees, storage fees, and miscellaneous expenses. Looking at his substantial pile of cash, he declares, "Upon this rock, I will build my church," signifying his plans to use this money to establish his practice. The transformation and conflict with his new wealth, Jimmy begins transforming his image. He visits a tailor, ordering an expensive suit made from Super 170 Tasmanian wool with specific instructions for the cut and style. He requests a navy pinstripe suit with shirts made of finest Sea Island cotton with a white club collar and French cuffs, insisting on real mother-of-pearl buttons rather than fake plastic crap. He also visits a salon where he appears to be a regular, enjoying perks like free massages in the massage chairs. During a hair coloring session, he argues with the stylists about the color, initially requesting strawberry fields forever before changing to a simple curling iron job with the ringlets on top, like Tony Curtis in Spartacus. Meanwhile, Jimmy leaves a message for a woman named Kim, inviting her to dinner and a movie, specifically mentioning the thing playing downtown, saying "I owe you one," and expressing his desire to talk with her. This call suggests a history and possibly complicated relationship between them. The scene shifts to reveal that Jimmy has created a billboard that essentially copies the logo and style of the prestigious law firm Hamlin McGill, HHM. Kim, who works at HHM, is shown a cease and desist letter by Howard Hamlin, who is furious about Jimmy's billboard. When Kim later confronts Jimmy about it during one of his salon visits, she calls it a declaration of war deliberately placed at Hamlin's exit, where he drives by it every day. Jimmy defends his actions, claiming it's just business and that he's building a brand. He argues that Hamlin fired the first shot by trying to prevent him from using his own name. Kim expresses concern, telling Jimmy you're better than this and suggesting he could work somewhere where he's appreciated and valued. Jimmy remains defiant, saying if Hamlin wants to come after me, he knows where I am. I'll be ready. Guns blazing, Jimmy faces Howard Hamlin in court over the billboard dispute. Howard argues that Jimmy's logo constitutes trademark infringement, copying HHM's font, true rectangle graphic, and even their signature, Hamlin Digo blue color. Jimmy mocks the name, Hamlin Digo, and argues this is restraint of trade, claiming he's being penalized simply for sharing the McGill name with one of HHM's partners. Despite Jimmy's arguments about fair use and free market principles, the judge rules against him, ordering the billboard to be removed within 48 hours. Undeterred, Jimmy attempts to turn this setback into an opportunity. He tries to interest various news outlets in covering the story as a classic David versus Goliath tale of a gigantic law firm stomping all over the little guy. After multiple rejections, he finally secures a camera operator. Jimmy orchestrates an elaborate publicity stunt during his news interview. As he speaks about being a self-made man who put himself through law school and built his career on service before being bullied by a large law firm, a worker on the billboard appears to fall and dangle precariously from the structure. Jimmy heroically climbs up to rescue him, all while being filmed. The camera operator remarks, "Whole thing was a publicity stunt." It's gotta be, confirming that the entire scenario was staged. The stunt proves successful, as Jimmy later tells his brother Chuck that his phone's ringing off the hook with 3 consultations scheduled before lunchtime. However, Jimmy lies about the source of this sudden business, claiming it came from referrals from prosecutors who noticed his hard work, elbow grease and clean living, as he puts it. Chuck seems proud but suspicious, especially when he asks for his daily newspaper, the Albuquerque Journal, and Jimmy claims it wasn't delivered. It's clear Jimmy is hiding the paper because it would reveal the truth about his billboard rescue stunt. The story ends with Chuck saying, "Hard work looks good on you," unaware of his brother's deceptive methods.